Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Monday, March 3rd, 2025 by Gaia Blooming. I'm Mimi, and our energy mantra for today is I let the evolution revolution flow and go. We have an interesting morning. We are in our second evolution day of Sun in Pisces. These are days where Uranus energy is working its way with us through degree energy. And a lot of times on these days, we can find things that want to help us evolve and revolve within inner revolution, pop up. Now, this is going hand in hand with Mercury moving into the sign of Aries. Mercury already in its retrograde shadow, so we are pre-retrograde. And we also have the moon moving signs this morning too, and connecting with Pluto, and we're kind of waking up in moon Pluto land. So this day might poke at you a little bit, not to mention the Venus retrograde that we already have going on, and that's okay. So as I was sitting here thinking about Mercury and Aries and just how long we're actually spending with Mercury and Aries. So Mercury usually takes about 2.5 weeks-ish, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks to like roll through a sign. It moves through so fast. We're going to have Mercury in Aries almost to the end of the month when it retrogrades back into Pisces. So it's going retrograde on the 14th and then retrogrades back into Pisces on the 29th. So this is a long time. We already have Mercury spending in Aries, and then it's going to be back for another round. So it's also interesting that we have an eclipse coming up in Aries. We have Venus retrograde in Aries. We have Chiron in Aries. We have Neptune moving into Aries. We're going to have Saturn moving into Aries later on. We're getting Aries lessons up the wazoo. And so Mercury plus Venus, these are our first passes at this right now, this season's astro. Chiron's been there for a while, helping us mentally identify, communicate who we are, and Venus is also trying to help us love on, value who we are. And then Chiron's like, and we got to peel through these layers and heal some of these layers of who you are. So there's a lot going on with that. But I think that Mercury spending so much time is really helping us look at who we are and identify it and understand it deeper. And this might be through communications and mental understandings of things. I think if we look at the state of the world and how many are treating each other, we would be like, oh wait, this isn't actually who we are. This isn't actually who I am. This isn't who or how I want to be. And so that's going to be a key. Things that you notice through this next month are giving you a little bit of a mirror, a little bit of a sign of something that you can look at and identify as like, check, yes, this, or check, no, thank you, not this. And again, I always say that I think that our power place is changing ourselves. So here we are. We have the evolution revolution day energy going on with this. That's like, okay, where do you need to evolve? Where do you need that inner revolution to shift these energies? Now, just to add to the fun of all this, Mercury in Aries can be a little bit combative, and it can be a little bit in your face, and it might not have much of a filter. Just like Aries energy can be sort of reactive, knee-jerk or elbow kind of reaction, Mercury in Aries can be very reactive. You may find things coming out of your mouth before you even realize what you're saying. I will tell you, as a Sagittarius growing up, that happened a lot. And I've learned to not do that because my mouth needed a filter. And it didn't always necessarily translate my heart, which is what I would like to speak from more so than this animal up here. So watch for what's coming out of your mouth, and you might get, again, glimpses of your unconscious, subconscious energies by being aware, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just said that thing, but there's some part of me that's maybe, bringing that through. And this is one of the things that we want to be really aware of. We are monkey see, monkey do, monkey hear, monkey say, right? And being that the internet can be a hostile, feisty place, we learn a lot of things around communications that aren't necessarily, again, from our heart. So, just interesting energies to explore. Now, this is also the first layer of Mercury in the sign of Aries. So here we are, just going through the first layer. And this is only going to 9 degrees. So we're not getting very far. We're just in the first decan of Aries energy, but it's enough. It's going to teach you some lessons. Now, like I said, this morning, Mercury's going to be at 0. So communications are going to be weird. Technology might be a little weird. Timing of things might be a little weird. Give yourself and others a little grace, and be sure to spend some time grounding in, because this energy can feel very in a foreign country, is the feeling. In a foreign country, don't speak the language, and your map flew away. That's what it kind of feels like, this energy. Like, we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. Moon moving into Taurus. This is actually kind of nice that we do get some grounding in this moon in Taurus energy, but unfortunately, like I said, we're kind of waking up, having our first part of the day with the moon squaring Pluto. So that's going to be 7:27 a.m. Pacific time. Pluto in Aquarius. The Taurus Aquarius squares are really interesting because Taurus, slow and steady wins the race, and Aquarius is looking and racing towards the future always. And so we may have some issues with time. Again, this might be even part of the Mercury stuff. You may find yourself running late. Things might just be not working the way you want them to. So this is a call for a little patience. We may have some worth issues popping up. Again, the evolution revolution of it all is just making sure you get the full framework of what you can work with today. So be very aware and use any of the challenges, any of the discomfort to help you work on your personal revolution, evolution energy. Now, the nice thing is that this is our last, transit for right now. We're going to get some, I have one more thing to mention. We're going to get some days, a little bit more chill, but we are building to our first eclipse. So just be aware of that. The last thing I wanted to mention, I have this actually not in my usual book, but written in my month ahead cheat sheet. Neptune hits 29 degrees today. Speaking of wanting to get grounded, and speaking of karmic energies, oh my goodness, we're not in Toto anymore, Kansas. I am so in the retrograde. Neptune, 29 degrees Pisces. So let me be fair and say, from I think it was April to September, I think last year, we had Neptune at 29 degrees Pisces. It was a really long time. So this is just going to be till the end of the month, for now, that we have Neptune at the final degree of Pisces. Pisces being the final sign and 29 degrees being the final degree just amplifies the potentness of this energy. So speaking of wanting to get grounded, yes, get grounded. But Neptune hanging out here, it is definitely bringing through karmic energies from other lifetimes, places, spaces. Be aware of that. Neptune at 29. So Pisces energy rules the media. And Neptune can be full of illusion. And we're all storytellers in some right? We all tell stories, the stories of our lives, the stories of other people's lives, the story of what's going on. Media tells the story, on a more global level. But just because they're telling a story doesn't mean the story that they're telling is correct. And I think that we all need to be very aware there's a lot of agendas at hand. One of my clients, love her, when we use the term powers that be, She was like, the powers that were. And I like that. So the powers that were, you know, have an agenda that they want us to think. And sometimes the fear agenda is one of the major ones. And so just be aware of that for this month. Between the intensity of these eclipses and other planetary shifts coming in and moving through, part of your Mercury process, I wouldn't say that Mercury in Aries is necessarily the most discerning, mostly because Aries is usually too busy moving, right? Like moving fast. But being that we're going slow and heading into a retrograde, and we already have Venus here retrograding, please utilize your discernment, because again, there's a lot of agendas out there. Everybody's a storyteller. I have a sneeze. My agenda is love. Like, I want us to all just love each other and get along. So I'm just being straight up. That's my agenda here. But just be aware of that. It is a time where you can use your illusion. It's a time where you can also tell the stories that you want to tell for potentially a bright future, right? But be aware of how you are affected by it. And I think that this stress card is how a lot of us are feeling from all the input from all of the layers. So make sure that you take a little time to decompress and like shed through these energies. I do have the awareness card. So this is the Chariot card. So it's a card of forward momentum. This card in reverse is like, we may not have our full awareness, and we're definitely not necessarily forward march right now. We're really kind of like treading water in a lake, and there's some snapping turtles. But the snapping turtles want to be your friend, and they're going to let them ride you. Like, this is what the Sagittarius mind does. So, like, again, how can we shift these stories? How can we have a breakthrough with these stories? Revolution, Evolution Day. Breakdown, breakthrough. The breakthrough is promised. So if you find yourself in the breakdown, just know there is breakthrough. But part of it might be, you're in a lake with snapping turtles. What are you going to do about it? It's your story to tell. What is the story you're telling? That's your life. It's your story to tell. What is the story you're telling? I am this, and this is what I'm doing in my life. Mercury in Aries. Love that little breakdown. Thank you, universe. And I like these two cards. Success, which the silence card is kind of that, right? So success. And this is a card reminding us to empower our like lower chakras, right? Second chakra, and solar plexus. You've got the power, right? Illumination. Notice what is illuminating itself for you. That's where the work is right now. The universe is always showing us, hey, this right here, pay attention to this. This is where you need to pay your attention. Are you paying attention yet? And we're like, Leo, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it there for today. You can book a reading. Reach out if you would like support of any kind. Eclipse readings still available. I haven't had very many of them this year, so, you know, get yourself in there if you would like to. But besides all that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and may your guiding light be strong. And know that you can trust the process. I see a cat in my plant. I'm going to go take care of that. Namaste.